All right, what's up, guys? My name's Mitchell Golden, but some people call me Mitch. Anyway, so what I'm going to talk about today is my best practice, and that is the Marzano homework and practice. So basically, Marzano Marzano has these 9 procedures that he uses. I'm pretty sure down here he calls it the Richter strategy. So the Richter model for achieving. So basically, he has 3 bullet points that he tries to bring up when he's talking about the best way to be an effective teacher. So first off, it talks about supports a focused shift in pedagogy. And pedagogy is basically the art and science of teaching. So it talks about giving a roadmap for planning units of instructions, different things like that. Number 2, it unifies school culture. So it unifies various programs and approaches around a common instructional model and common language of instruction. And number 3, provides formative feedback. So that's kind of basically just an overview of what Marzano is about and what his strategy is. So let's go back up here and talk more specifically about homework and practice, because one of these practices that Marzano talks about is homework and practice. So I found 3 key points that I think are very important. Number 1, Marzano believes that homework and practice is to deepen the student's understanding. So you don't want your students to just feel like they're doing busy work when they're completing these assignments. You want them to understand that this is helping them in the long run, and it's helping their understanding of the content that they've been learning about in their classes. Number 2 is to extend learning opportunities beyond the confines of the school day. As many of us know through our clinical times, that the school day is very short and we can always use more time to teach our students. So a great way to do that, Marzano believes, is through homework. So extending learning opportunities beyond the confines of the school day, that's a great opportunity. Homework and practice are what Marzano believes is the key to extending the school day. And then number 3, something I just found pretty interesting, because I thought, what is the difference between homework and practice? So what I found was that homework and practice are basically serving the same purpose, except for when a student is asked to read a chapter to have a basic understanding for the next day in class. So that's a different type of homework, because they are expecting to know something that they have not been taught yet. And with practice, they have been learning that throughout the day or throughout the week, and they are just putting their skills to test. So the next thing I want to talk about is the amount of homework a student receives, and that just kind of depends on the grade level. So Marzano believes that at the elementary level, specifically grades K through 3, homework should be helping the students understand how to study instead of expanding their knowledge on the content. So they're just basically getting a grasp of, how do I study, how do I do homework, how do I complete it on time, what's time management like, different things like that. And then over here, we have the grade level. So grades 4 through 6, you should expect to see a 6% or an addition of 6 on their percentile gain by doing Marzano's strategies and doing the amount of homework he requires. The same thing, you can read the chart. So Marzano has a math equation that he believes helps with assigning homework to each night. So he believes that the X equals the grade that the student's in. So if the student's in the 9th grade, you should multiply their grade that they're in by 10. So a student in 9th grade should have about 90 minutes of homework a night. And that's not just for one specific class. That's not just for your math class. That is for all subjects. So a student should be completing about 90 hours of homework for math, science, English, language arts, or not English, like English and social studies. The second part that I really found interesting was the target audiences. As you can kind of see from up here, the target audiences doesn't really depend on the grade, because everyone can use this. But specifically what I found about special education is that students will be more successful using this strategy if they have a rubric or scales. But I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I believe that you should always give a rubric to every student, not just those students in special education. I understand how that helps them, but when you're giving big major projects or big major assignments or any assignment really, a student should have an expectation of how they're going to be graded and what you're going to be looking for when you're grading them. And that really helps them achieve and just understand, okay, so if I have this in here, then I'm going to get the points that I need. So that's just kind of something that I found and not necessarily disagreed with, but I feel like you can expand that a little bit more. For the modifications for students with disabilities, I just came up with 3. After reading this, it was very easy for me to see how to help individual students with these disabilities. So number 1, I'm talking about a student with autism, and I would give him homework and practice, him or her, homework and practice that requires more kinesthetic learning instead of note-taking learning. So a student with autism normally struggles with paying attention and staying focused. So giving them more hands-on homework and letting them play with Play-Doh or more manipulatives, I believe will really help them in the long run and help them remember the content better. Number 2, students with memory loss, in parentheses, specific learning disabilities, writing their homework down in a planner and then signing it at the end of the day will really help them keep organized and will allow them to go back to their planner and remember, oh yes, I have this assignment due for my social studies class. You can also do this with students with hearing impairment, visual impairments, and blindness. Having someone scribe for them and write it in their planner, and then correlating with the parents so that they know, I'm going to be signing this planner. It's going to show you the amount of homework they have and where the homework will be. It's always going to be in the folder. And then whenever they complete it, having the parent signing and saying that they saw the planner so they know the student had homework, and then they can sit down with them and work with them. The procedures. There's basically 10 procedures that I found. I believe that these are pretty straightforward and pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to go ahead and walk you through these anyway. So number 1, understanding the different types of homework and when to use them in your teaching. Excuse me. So you don't want to give the same type of homework over and over and over again to students, because then they're just going to become bored, and you don't ever want your students to become bored with what they're doing. I understand that sometimes schoolwork is not fun and sometimes you do have to lecture, but giving them homework that is boring is more than likely going to lead to homework not being completed. So number 2, assign the right type of homework in comparison to the lessons so that homework is more of a focused learning experience. So you don't want to do a really great, really awesome lesson and then your homework is just not very good and not very interesting and just not something the students are going to do. It kind of ties in with number 1. Number 3, assign the right level and amount of homework. So we've already talked about the math equation that Marzano has come up with. But assigning the right level, basically that's self-explanatory. You don't want to give a student a 3rd grade math sheet to do if they're in the 9th grade. So I wrote down here, also keep in mind your special education students and the accommodations they need to be successful. Number 4, apply appropriate consequences. Apply appropriate consequences. So off the side, I wrote praise students when homework is completed and provide consequences when homework is not. You don't want to get to a point where your students think homework is not worth as many points, therefore homework is not as important. Because that can really help, and as we've already talked about, can really help in expanding the student's knowledge of the content. So you want to make sure that homework is done, and homework is completed, and homework is a priority in the student's life. Number 5, recognize that every student is different and learns differently. So you want to embrace those differences and practices and in ways that students will learn. So we know that students learn different ways, whether that's through visual, hearing, kinesthetic, whatever it may be. So you don't want to give the same, tying it with number 1, the same type of homework. So you don't want to always give a visual type of homework. You want to incorporate so that every student has the best opportunity to learn. Number 6 is provide clear homework expectations at the school level. So this is basically more of an administration thing, because it says not each individual teacher needs their own set of expectations because that causes confusion for the students and parents. So getting together as a staff, as a district, and saying, okay, what are our homework expectations for us, and what are our homework expectations for the district as a whole. Number 7, ask parents to facilitate homework, not complete it. This is very, very important. You don't want your students to just feel like they can go home and have their parents complete the homework and it's all going to be great and dandy. They should be completing the homework. They are in the school. Their parents have already graduated, hopefully from school. So you don't want them to feel like they just could just go home and they'll get their homework done and get the 100. So encourage the parents not to just complete the homework for the students. Number 8, homework should have a clear purpose. You don't want to just hand out busy work to your students because then that leads to not being completed. Number 9, homework should be given by in a timely fashion. You don't want to give your students a lot of time to just sit around and wait. You want to make sure that they are focused on what is going on and that they are getting their homework back in a timely manner so they can complete the assignments and then correct it. Also, that ties in with this is giving corrections back that are going to help the student fix their mistakes. The last one, number 10, help students organize their homework as a planner. We've already talked about this, helping the students getting organized because that's a major key in student achievement. Right here, I have some resources where I found my information. Number 2 is a great resource. It's where I got a lot of my information from. So basically down here I just have some pictures of what I found on the internet. So number 1, this is just a rubric that you could use when giving it to your students, giving to your special education students. As you can see, it's easy to read, it's easy to understand. This is a total worth of 30 points because there's 5 points total in each category and there's 6 categories. So you know the students are working for a 30-point grade. Right here I've already showed you this, and then down here is the homework expectations that I found online. It just shows you what to write in your expectations. Some things are more important, so like when the homework is due are down here, and it shows how students can achieve and what their expectations are for completing the homework. And then down here, this is just my formative questions. I will post these on the discussion board for you guys, so you don't have to keep going back and looking at these. But if you have any questions, please contact me. I hope that this has kind of helped you understand where Marzano's point and his model is coming from, and I hope that you will continue to use these in your class and throughout your teaching. So, thank you.